If you thought Shaq was tall, then you've probably never heard of Yao Ming. Standing at 7 feet 6 inches, Yao wasn't just another big man, he was a giant in every sense of the word. But his impact wasn't just about height. He made the NBA truly global, bringing millions of new fans into the sport and proving that talent knows no borders. From the historic battles with Shaquille O'Neal to his role in revolutionizing Chinese basketball, Yao's legacy is unmatched. But how did he become such a global icon? And why did his career end so soon? Well, stick around to find out. The arrival of a giant. Yao Ming was never just another basketball player. He was born into the game. His parents, both professional basketball players in China, were practically giants themselves. His father stood 6 feet 7 inches, and his mother, a former player for the Chinese national team, was 6 foot 3 inches. From the moment Yao was born, standing out was inevitable. By the time he was 9 years old, he was already taller than most adults. At 13, he was training with the Shanghai Sharks youth team, and by 17, he was dominating the Chinese Basketball Association. In his final CBA season with the Shanghai Sharks, Yao put up ridiculous numbers: 32.4 points, 19 rebounds, and 4.8 blocks per game, leading his team to their first ever championship. Scouts in the U.S. have been watching, and they knew one thing: this wasn't just a tall guy. This was a skilled big man with soft hands, great footwork, and a high basketball IQ. The NBA was ready for Yao, but the road to the draft wasn't simple. Political and contractual complications nearly derailed his move to the U.S. But after months of negotiations between the NBA, the Chinese government, and the CBA, Yao was finally cleared to enter the 2002 NBA draft. On June 26, 2002, he made history, becoming the first ever international player drafted number 1 overall without playing in college or an American league. The Houston Rockets took a gamble, ignoring doubts about whether a player from China could compete in the NBA. Charles Barkley famously bet that if Yao ever scored 19 points in a game, he would kiss Kenny Smith's ass on live TV. Spoiler, he did. Yao's rookie season wasn't easy. In his first game, he scored 0 points, and he often described the pressure he felt during his initial days.
I feel nervous at that time. When I come here, they put a lot of focus on me, and in this world, it's like a lot of focus, there's also a lot of pressure is coming.
Critics were ready to label him a bust, but Yao adjusted quickly. By November, he dropped 20 points on 9 of 9 shooting against the Lakers, proving he belonged. By February, he was an NBA All-Star, and by the end of the season, he was averaging 13.5 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks per game. The NBA had its newest superstar. When Yao faced Shaquille O'Neal for the first time, the entire basketball world was watching. It was a defining moment. Yao versus Shaq, the battle of titans. Shaquille O'Neal wasn't just the most dominant center in the NBA, he was the measuring stick. At 7 feet 1 inch and 325 pounds, he bullied defenders, shattered backboards, and made even the best big men look helpless. When Yao Ming entered the league, Shaq didn't take him seriously. He cracked jokes about Yao's skills, made fun of his English, and even said he'd teach him how to say "this is my house" after they played. However, on January 17, 2003, in their first ever matchup, Yao Ming made a statement that couldn't be ignored. From the opening game, Yao did something that had never been done before. He blocked Shaq's first 3 shot attempts. The crowd at the Staples Center erupted. Shaq was stunned. Nobody had ever stopped him 3 times in a row like that. Listen to him describe this ordeal.
My first impression of Yao was, who the f*** is this? Because he came in and I tried to hit him with a smooth finger roll move, blocked. Next play down, I tried to hit him with a fadeaway, blocked. Next time I tried to come up, dunk, blocked. First guy that blocked my shot 3 times in a row. So he's definitely the first guy I had to change how I played against him. And
Yao didn't back down. He finished the game with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks, leading the Rockets to a 108-104 overtime victory. More importantly, he earned Shaq's respect. After that game, everything changed. NBA legends who once doubted whether a player from China could hang with the best started to see Yao differently. Shaq, who had been dismissive before, admitted he's a real player. He's no joke. Players like Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan praised his skill set, something that set him apart from traditional centers. Yao wasn't just big. He had elite footwork, soft touch around the basket, and incredible passing ability for a big man. He could hit mid-range jumpers, make quick post moves, and find open teammates. He was thriving in the NBA. Yao's battle with Shaq was more than just a game. It was the night he went from an international curiosity to a legitimate NBA star. But as his popularity soared, so did the expectations. Fans saw him as the future of the NBA, becoming a global icon. Yao Ming, the global icon. By the time Yao Ming entered the NBA, basketball was already popular in China, but his arrival turned it into a national obsession. Millions of Chinese fans had followed his career in the Chinese Basketball Association, but now their hometown hero was competing against the best players in the world. This wasn't just exciting, it was historic. The NBA had broadcast games in China before, but Yao's presence made them must-watch television. Viewership numbers exploded. Rocket games were no longer just another matchup on the schedule, they were major national events. During Yao's rookie season, NBA games featuring the Houston Rockets drew over 200 million viewers in China. To put that into perspective, that's more than twice the Super Bowl's viewership in the United States. The NBA quickly realized they had something special. They began scheduling more Rocket games in prime time for Chinese audiences, and soon the demand for NBA content in China skyrocketed. With this surge in popularity came an even bigger financial impact. Yao's success led to an explosion in NBA merchandise sales across Asia. Jerseys, shoes, posters, you name it, and people were buying it. His number 11 Rockets jersey became one of the best-selling jerseys not just in China, but worldwide. The NBA's China business, which had been growing steadily, suddenly became a multi-billion-dollar industry. Major brands took notice, and Yao became one of the most marketable athletes on the planet. Nike and Reebok battled for the right to sign him, with Reebok eventually winning out. They built entire ad campaigns around him, featuring slogans like "Size Matters" to highlight his dominance. Yao helped bridge the gap between Western sports culture and Chinese fandom, making the NBA truly global. But with fame came responsibility. Yao was a symbol of hope for millions. And as he continued to shine on the court, injuries and expectations started to take a toll. And as his global fame grew, his body began to break down. The journey that made him a superstar also took him away from the game too soon. Yao's injuries and tragic end to his career. For all the dominance, all the skill, and all the history Yao Ming made, there was one opponent he could never truly defeat: his own body. At 7 feet 6 inches and 310 pounds, every step, every jump, and every landing put immense stress on his frame. In his early seasons, he was remarkably durable, playing 244 out of 246 possible games in his first 3 years. But as the minutes piled up, so did the injuries, and soon it became clear that Yao's biggest battle wouldn't be against another player, it would be against time. The trouble started in the 2005-06 season, when a broken left foot forced him to miss 25 games.
Thomas gets a step on Battier, takes it inside, and a walking foul is called, and Yao goes down holding his right knee.
The following year, he fractured his right knee and sat out another 34. But the real nightmare began in 2008-09, when he suffered a hairline fracture in his left foot during the playoffs. Doctors warned that this could be a career-threatening injury, but Yao refused to give up. He underwent surgery, rehabbed for months, and attempted a comeback in 2010. He lasted just 5 games before his foot gave out again. That was it. The game he loved had taken its toll, and the player who once carried the weight of a nation couldn't even carry himself down the court anymore. On July 20, 2011, Yao Ming, at just 30 years old, stood before the media and officially announced his retirement. His voice was calm, but the emotion was unmistakable. He thanked his teammates, his coaches, and his fans. But the hardest part wasn't saying goodbye to basketball. It was knowing how much more he could have given if his body had let him. For the Houston Rockets, it was devastating. They had built their future around Yao, and now they were left without a franchise player. For the NBA, it was the loss of a global ambassador, someone who had brought millions of new fans to the game. Adam Silver even spoke about Yao Ming's impact in an interview.
Yao's impact on the game has been transcendent. He's taken the largest market in the world and popularized basketball in a way no one could have dreamed of.
Yao gave everything to basketball, but the game took everything from him. But his story wasn't over. The legacy lives on. His playing career ended far too soon, but his impact on basketball was just getting started. The NBA wasted no time recognizing his contributions. In 2016, he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, standing alongside Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson in one of the most iconic classes ever. The moment was emotional, not just for Yao, but for the millions of fans he had inspired. His career stats, 19 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks per game, were impressive. But his true legacy wasn't measured in numbers. It was measured in how he changed the game forever. Yao wasn't content with simply being a Hall of Famer. In 2017, he took on an even bigger role as the president of the Chinese Basketball Association. For years, China had struggled to develop homegrown NBA-level talent. Yao wanted to change that.
I hope to cooperate with news media and cultural organizations to promote our country's basketball industry and to establish our own basketball museum and our Hall of Fame.
He pushed for reforms, improving youth development programs, raising coaching standards, and giving young players more opportunities to compete at a high level. Under his leadership, the CBA became more competitive, and Chinese players gained more exposure on the global stage. But Yao didn't just work on the professional side of basketball. He focused on the grassroots level as well. He opened basketball academies, launched training camps, and worked closely with young players to develop their skills. He knew that for China to produce another NBA star, it needed a stronger foundation. His efforts started paying off, with more Chinese prospects making their way to the international leagues. Even after stepping down as CBA president in 2024, his influence remained undeniable. He had laid the groundwork for the future of Chinese basketball, ensuring that the next generation had better opportunities than he did. His mission wasn't just to create better players, it was to create a lasting basketball culture in China. However, while Yao's legacy in China was secure, his influence still reached beyond borders. Even after retirement, he remained a key figure in NBA-China relations, proving that his impact on the game was bigger than any championship ring. What do you think about his incredible impact on basketball? Did he change the NBA forever? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into his legacy, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.